going on, guys? TheAireaidLord's here, back again for another Walking Dead Season 8 vlog. I got the Patriot shirt on again, as you can guys see. I've worn this for a couple of reactions and a couple of vlogs. They won the other day against the Saints, but I'm not here to talk football and sports. I don't think I've ever had a vlog where I've talked about sports. I don't know, maybe that's an option for the future. Looking back on it, I really wish I did a Super Bowl 51 reaction. Because, man, if anyone knows about that game, one of the craziest football games I've ever watched in my life. I don't really watch football, but, you know, I've become more active as a Patriots fan ever since they won their 4th and 5th Super Bowl, so... yeah, and I was with a lot of friends. It would have been cool to have that as a live reaction, but I didn't know what the nature of the game would be. I didn't have, you know, my camera. I had a lot of kind of friends in the room. I know it would have been difficult to do, but you know, because I saw some reaction videos on YouTube that people were doing for that. But you know, I don't know. There's always next time. Maybe if they make it to another one in the years to come, maybe even this season. Who knows? I don't know. It's always just up in the air. Now you kind of just decide these things in the moment, impromptu. So anyway. The purpose of this vlog is to discuss character interactions that we haven't seen before in the show and which ones that I'd like to see this season. Now, I came up with the idea for this vlog because on The Talking Dead, Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Lenny James, who play Negan and Morgan, were on for the special with Chris Hardwick. This was the information that I discussed from the last vlog where I talked about that sneak peek and some of the things they were discussing for the future. And one thing that they discussed was if Negan and Morgan would ever have a character, like, scene, like, an interaction together. Because a fan asked, because, I mean, the two actors are sitting there on the couch next to each other. And you look at these two gentlemen and you're like, well, these are two incredible characters that have totally different stories and totally different experiences. You know, Morgan having been in the series since season 1, and Negan being, you know, having one season under his belt and having, you know, being the biggest villain in the show thus far, maybe even, you know, of all time for The Walking Dead, I'd argue. And so they had discussed, like, what would a Negan-Morgan interaction look like? Now, I don't know if Negan saw Morgan during the battle at Alexandria, where the kingdom comes to save the day at the very last second. It was very unclear what Negan was looking at when he was shooting that mini Uzi from behind the car, because the tiger attacks, he's like freaking out, like, why is there a goddamn tiger? And then he sees Maggie, and he's confused because he was obviously told by Father Gabriel and Rick that Maggie was dead, so that caught him off guard. So just the presence of the kingdom in general probably caught him off guard. I would think that Negan would have some angry words for Gavin, because Gavin was the savior lieutenant that was in charge of all of the dealings with the kingdom. And the kingdom in Gavin's group left it off with Morgan saying to them, hey, look, we're going to obey. You know, I killed Richard to show you that we can understand the rules and that we can obey. And so that was the reasoning behind that. And so they kind of said, you know, they convinced Gavin that they could follow the rules. And now they just attacked Negan himself and turned the tides for Rick's group. So Negan's probably going to go to Gavin and be like, what the fuck? You don't have control over this group after all. This is a major problem. So we've seen Gavin in the trailer. There's a scene where he's inside the sanctuary with Simon, Stephen Oak's character, who everyone says is Trevor if they've played GTA 5. He's in there, and then Jared, the guy who kills Benjamin, the guy with that long hair who's a dick, there's a scene of him just standing there kind of laughing. So obviously he's going to be an adversary. I guarantee he'll die during the war, and Morgan will probably be the one to kill him so that he avenges Benjamin's death. It would make sense. But what would a Negan-Morgan interaction look like? There was a shot where Negan's shooting people, again, like I said, with the Uzi, and then you see Morgan with an assault rifle. He runs out of ammo, throws it aside, and then he's sprinting. And then in the next scene, he's helping Rick, where he hits the guy with the spear, and then he uses the sharp end, the newly created sharp end, to stab the guy right in the eyeball and kill him. So what would an interaction like that look like? Well, Morgan's in a different mindset, as we've seen. He wants to kill the Saviors. He wants to put an end to them. He's in this... He's almost like in a semi-clear mentality, where he's in that kill mode, but he understands that he's doing it for the people around him. And you see that in the finale of Season 7, where he says to Ezekiel that he feels stuck, and then Ezekiel says, join us, don't do this on your own. And you see Morgan like kind of rationalizing it, and he's like, okay, fine, I'll join your battalion, we'll do this rationally, I'll rationally help you take on the Saviors instead of just going one-man army style like he used to do in Season 3 with that whole trap thing he had in the Kingston County in the Clear episode. And that's important because Morgan is part of a group now, and now that he's found this group, he's found not only Alexandria, but the kingdom, and he's part of all these groups, and it's extremely important that he be a contributing member and not just go off on his own. And Carol says that, like, if he kills any of the Saviors and they get wind, they'd lose the advantage of their sneak attack that they had in the finale. So, I think that Negan would probably respect Morgan's skills. Obviously, with the bow staff, with a gun, it seems like Morgan's obviously his skills that he acquired from Eastman will probably be the ones that they show off more. But there is a scene in the trailer where Jesus and Morgan are like kind of fighting. And actually, Lenny James said this in the sneak peek preview, where he said that two characters with prominent fighting abilities would fight each other and kind of confront their demons on something like that. And it looks like he's talking about, at least from the trailer, he's talking about Morgan and Jesus, which there's never been an interaction between Morgan and Jesus, even though Rick found the hilltop in Season 6. Morgan never went to the hilltop. He was never part of that battalion that went to the hilltop. He didn't go to the satellite outpost to massacre that group of Saviors. He stayed behind Alexandria for the whole thing, and then in the finale, near the finale, he went out to look for Carol, and he was completely separate from the Saviors. So he was completely detached, him and Carol, from all the Saviors. Well, Carol had the interactions in Season 6 with that woman, Polly or whatever, that fat lady who says that we're all Negan, the guy that gets shot in the arm. There's been a lot of subdivisions of Saviors, that like characters that peak in their own right and get good screen time and have good lines and dialogue. Like when the Saviors are first introduced, when Daryl, Sasha, and Abraham confront those guys on the motorcycles before he blows them up with the rocket launcher, like, that actor actually follows my Twitter page, Christopher Barry. I mean, he was only in 2 episodes, technically, but, I mean, he had great lines for being the head savior. What was it? What did Negan call them? Little Timmy and the Dick Brigade? Yeah, when he finds the RPG, he says, you guys took out Timmy and the Dick Brigade? So, there's been all these little factions of saviors, and Morgan had his faction was when they got to the kingdom with Gavin and Jared, those two prominent members of that group. Jared for being the asshole who obviously caused the physical harm and death of Benjamin, and then Gavin, the one who's the talking head. Because that's what you always have with the Saviors, with their subdivisions. You have the talking head, who's the leader of that subdivision, whether it's Gavin, whether it's Simon, whether it's this guy that got blown up with the rocket launcher. I guess he wanted his character to be named Bud. And then you got Negan. And then obviously Dwight. Well, I mean, now Dwight's a turncoat, as we know now, but he used to be one of Negan's kind of generals. We saw that when he killed Denise. It was in charge of that group when he was making demands. So, Negan's got a lot of lieutenant general. I mean, with the governor, it was really only Martinez and Merle, if you think about it, back to Season 3 and 4. Like, it was Martinez, Merle, and then when he found the second group that Tara was with, it was the guy who, I guess, operated the tank, you could say. But then he killed all those guys. He killed anyone who had some sort of position of power. Like, he choked that guy out. He whacked Martinez with a golf club. So, and that's the difference between Negan and the governor. The governor, wanted to just be in control of everything and not really be strategic with the other humans that were there. Whereas Negan lets all these people live. That's why he only killed 2 people, and he was only going to kill 1 of Rick's group, because he wants all of them to work for him. So he's not interested in if that was the governor in that scenario, he would have killed Rick and all of them. And we see that with the governor when he's first introduced, when there's that battalion of soldiers, and he goes up, waves the white flag, and then shoots them all. So anyway, not to get off topic, but I'm trying to string up the logic here of where the patterns in the show happen, and I think again, Negan would respect Morgan's skills. He would. Morgan's wearing the kingdom armor. I think Negan would have some words about the kingdom. Now, what those words are, we don't know, because Negan has not shown any type of thoughts or feelings about the hilltop or the kingdom. We've only seen him on screen dealing with Alexandria because that was the main focus of last season, how he's whipping Rick into shape. So, and again, the lieutenants deal with their property. So Simon is dealing with Gregory, so he's the hilltop guy, and then Gavin's the kingdom guy. So it's going to be interesting to see Negan saying, okay, now you guys kind of fucked up because these groups have risen up and joined with this other group that I was dealing with. So you didn't do your job, and now I got to deal. So it's almost like a CEO whose lower level management can't handle a project, and then he has to get involved. So that's what Negan's doing. He's like, I had Alexandria taken care of with the trash people, but you, Simon, and I guess Gavin, they didn't do a good job at making sure the hilltop and Maggie rising up, being there. They didn't know she was there for the longest time. Sasha was there for a long time before she died. And all the weapons that the kingdom had, the deal that they had where they didn't take anything, it was kind of outside the boundaries. I'm not sure if Negan would have liked that. If Negan saw that deal with the kingdom, he might have been like, I actually want all the things that are inside there. I don't know if Ezekiel would have fought back in that scenario, but I think Gavin was soft. I don't know and we don't know this. We don't know if Ezekiel has ever dealt with Negan. And I'm interested to see what the politics of that are. Because, again, this is what happens. We now have a larger... This is almost like a mini Game of Thrones-esque, where you have politics of different societies. The politics of the kingdom with the sanctuary, sanctuary with the hilltop, sanctuary with Alexandria. Now we have Oceanside out in orbit. Not sure if they'll join the fight later. And then we also have the Junkyard people out in orbit as mercenaries who basically join the Saviors because they're just looking for the best deal. So you've got a lot of orbits, and the interaction of those, I'm interested. I'm interested to see Carol and Negan. Holy shit! I mean, granted, I think Carol will try to shoot Negan the first chance she gets, so I don't think they're gonna have words. But I think Negan would respect Carol. He'd be like, "Wow, this is a badass woman. This is an older woman. This woman used to be a mom. Like, if he learned things about her, like that would be cool. A Carol Negan scene. Holy shit!" Like, I think Negan would be... It was kind of like Negan's reaction with Sasha, where he was like, wow, Sasha's a badass. She ran in here Rambo-style trying to kill me, and I wanted her to be on my team. And obviously, Sasha had other plans, but I think Negan would feel the same way. I mean, he likes badass women, and they remind him of his wife, Lucille, that died, and... he likes people that could have benefits for him. That's why he kept Daryl around. So I think he'd respect Carol. He'd respect Morgan. I don't know about Jesus. I think, again, Negan likes to kill the men more so than he does the women. And there's, in the comic books, Jesus... So before the tiger, in the season 7 finale, before the tiger pounces on that soldier and kills him, Jesus actually takes Negan at gunpoint and puts a gun to his head and says, let them go or I'll shoot you, and then the tiger comes. So there's an extra scene of Jesus getting involved. They didn't put that in here. Jesus is part of the Hilltop group that comes to fight back, but that scene's not explicitly in there. It's a really cool scene where Jesus and Negan actually fight. Like, Jesus is using his martial arts skills, Negan's trying to swing at him with the bat, and then he gets him at gunpoint. I like to see that in All Out War. They didn't get to do it in the season 7 finale, I know, because it might have been a bit jarring and weird. Put that shit in All Out War. There's a couple of scenes from March to War in the comics that weren't in season 7, because season 7 covers the events of March to War. Season 8, All Out War. So you can now use some of the things you didn't get to do from Kirkman's comics in March to War, now put them in All Out War. So I think that would be beneficial. And they're just they're action scenes that were drawn by Charlie Adlard, who does all the art. And they are beautifully drawn scenes, and part of the excitement is to see those come to life in the show. That's always been what it is for me. whether it's the depiction in the drawings of Negan smashing Glenn's head in, or Rick losing his hand, which I know doesn't happen in the show. There's a lot of cool graphic, violent scenes that are drawn beautifully, and to see them in the show is just a treat. So yeah, those Carol and Morgan interacting with Negan. What's that going to look like? Also, them interacting with the scavengers, with Jadis. They're probably going to just want to kill her. Like, wow, why did you... Like, I'm basically saying to Rick, why did you make a deal with a woman that shady? She barely talks, saves her words because she doesn't like to use too many words. Trash people. You hired mercenaries. And they're mercenaries. They go for the better contract. And the Saviors had they've got more land and prosperous things. And I guess they were offering the Saviors men, like people. Because Jada said that. She said deal is for 12, yes, and then Negan brings it down to 10. He says people are a resource. So I gather he was giving the junkyard people 10 of his men. Which, I think the trash people, like I said this in a previous vlog, they suffered the most casualties in that season 7 mini skirmish at Alexandria. From even before the Kingdom and the Hilltop came in, Alexandria, they took, Carl, she was shooting a bunch. Daryl was shooting a bunch. That's where he got that, ACR assault rifle. They were mowing down a couple of the junkyard people. And then when the Kingdom and Hilltop came in, they were, picking a couple of them off. A couple Saviors got killed. But the junkyard really suffered the most casualties. And all of their dump trucks, like I said, are still in Alexandria. And their bikes. They ran off on foot. So you could use those dump trucks as a strategic wall, like to, as cover if you need to drive up to someone's place and shoot them. So I hope Rick utilizes them. It's just an extra vehicle he can use, but they obviously like to use them because they were hiding in the trash component and came out as literal trash people. And, so now they don't have them anymore. So we'll see. I mean, there's a lot of chess pieces, pieces on the board that can be moved around, and you can see where the dynamic will be. So again, I'm looking forward to all these interactions, and it's the 18th of September when I'm filming this now. We're almost a month away, folks. It's the 22nd of October that this airs, and it's almost going to be the 22nd of September, which means we're almost a month away. So the countdown is officially on to season 8, which sounds incredible, just insane that now we're into a full season. I was anticipating season 7, I will admit, more last year because of the cliffhanger of just wanting to know who died, and to finish that scene where we were just kind of stuck in that scene in the forest where they were all frightened and scared. Now there's also a little bit more anticipation from me because this is the 100th episode, and I'm expecting that they want this episode to be the best episode that the show has ever done. Just action, explosions, gunfire, and some dialogue, and just like, just people charging and throwing shit and just, shit hitting the fan. I'm expecting that. And it's just going to be fun. It's going to be a fun episode to react to. I believe, I'll have my 2 kind of cohorts who were actually with the Season 7 finale with me. Jack and Pete will be there for the Season 8 reactions. And it's going to be one hell of a fucking ride. I can't wait. I can't wait. It'll probably be done in this structure via some sort of live stream. I'm gonna say this in another vlog, but we're actually moving into a new place, so we need to make sure that we're gonna have cable. If we don't have cable, then just internet, and if that's the case, then I'll need to get the episode through AMC's live streaming application, which I've had problems with in the past, but that was also because I was at college, and using the college Wi-Fi was always fucking unpredictable, and it would say, it was 50-50 if it fucked up my live stream. So if I'm using internet that we're directly paying for and getting something that's stable and works, I think we shouldn't have a problem. So all right, that's it for me. I'll add other videos and vlogs because I don't like to go too many days without making one. So I'll definitely make some more content when we're in a position for me just to make more vlogs and to kind of update you guys on things. And so yeah. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all later. Peace out.